Hi, Jenna Unlock here for another virtual edition of our Latcham Saturdays program. With Mother's Day just a week away on May 9th, I thought it would be a great idea to do a special project for Mom using some basic materials you have at home. And of course, if you have a printer to print the template out, that's helpful. If you don't, no problem. You just have to hand draw the mom on the front. So I've gone ahead and printed it out on I have a piece of cardstock, but any paper will do that you have for your printer. And there is a dotted line, but you can just go ahead and fold that right in half to create your card. And there we go. Next thing you want to do is just get a thin black marker. I happen to have a Sharpie, but it doesn't have to be. And we're just going to start to draw flowers. You can draw as many or as little flowers as you like. I kind of filled mine up about 3/4 of the way. And for these flowers, really just keep it loose and fun. I start usually with a little circle for the center and then just start drawing petals around it. And for this project, I think it would look great to have a variety of sizes of flowers and shapes. But to be honest with you, I'm just going ahead and I'm doing all kind of the same flower. I'm not going to worry too much about it, but I do like the idea of variety and just going around. I also kind of want to make it look like these are kind of overlapping. Oh, there, I'm going to just add a little variation to that. And I'm going to go ahead and color in some centers. Now you can fill in as much or as little as you want. This is absolutely yours. You'll see by the end how mine turned out to get an idea. There, we'll just skip ahead and you can see I've filled in some petals, not others, but I'm just trying to make it look kind of layered. There's big ones, little ones, and I'm not crossing over into that mom oval. I'm keeping that clean, but again, this is your project for Mom. You can do whatever you like. And I'm just going to go ahead and these ones I'm going to make it look like there's sort of petals behind just for variety. But I'm just trying to kind of get a balance of sizes of the flowers, shapes of the petals. Some are long and thin, some are short and wide, and making it look like they're overlapping. So I stop the petal when it comes to another shape there, you can see. And you just go along like this until you filled it as much as you want to fill it. That's entirely up to you. I didn't completely fill it. I left some little bit of white space around, but you can choose to fill it all in if you like. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fill in some of the petals so that there is a little bit of variety and creates that little sense of depth. And this I'm doing all with just black ink. Okay, you can kind of get a sense of how that's coming along. And the idea behind this is to just get some nice pen and ink work going with the black and the white so that when we do our flowers on top, they really pop out from the background. It's a flower just like the ones that we've drawn, but it's like it's kind of coming out of the picture and sitting on top. So I like to do a combination of just the pen and ink and then put some pop of different papers and textures on top for variety. And you can see some of these I'm just gonna go ahead and fill some of the centers and otherwise fill some of the petals. Okay, for our next step, we're going to create these little pretty flowers to glue on top of the card. I'm pulling that paper I made back in the summer. I don't know if any of you watched the videos where we use crayons and just some food coloring washes over top of it to create sort of a paper that we can use for many projects. I use this for so many things. I love to do that. So if you want to look on our channel for that video, that might be another fun project for the weekend. But it doesn't have to be. It can be wrapping paper you have. It can be any other type of paper you have. And I'm going to do almost like the snowflakes you might have made before. We're going to be doing some folding and cutting. So easy way to do it is just fold one corner of the paper, then cut it into a triangle like that. So then you don't have to worry about making your square first. So you've got it folded in half, and we're going to fold it in half again. Just pinch it nice and firm. And then we're going to, you can see, we're going to fold it one last time. So 1, 2, 3 folds. You just want to pinch that down. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're going to, the base of it where you've been folding from, you're going to hold and pinch it tight. The open sections are to the right with the fold along the left, and then the bottom is where you want to pinch it, and that's the center of your flower, so you don't want to cut that. Then you're just going to, just like those snowflakes you might have made before, you're just going to cut the top. I would think of it like an ice cream cone. So the point at the bottom, and then just round the top off. When you've done 3 or 4 folds, depending on the thickness of the paper, it gets a little harder to trim, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it a little round. If you want your petal round, you can make it a little pointier if you want your petals pointy, and then just open that up. And you will see you've got a little flower just like the ones that you've been drawing. Really simple shape, but there you go. All right, let's try that again with some tissue paper this time. I love mixing papers, textures. This one's sort of semi-transparent, just kind of pretty. So you just go ahead, get a small piece. Some of these can get pretty small when I'm starting to do some of the centers, but I'll have a go at it. So again, I just fold a corner over. I find that's just the easiest, and then instead of trying to just cut up squares, then get those sides cut. So I have my triangle, and then I'm going to fold that in half. Pinch the sides and fold in half once more. So 3 folds total. Pinch those sides. Again, I'm going to grab onto that. Oh, it's hard to hold. So with that pointing down, you want to pinch that, fold, and that's the part you're going to hold on to. So you make sure you don't cut that bottom portion, because that's the center of the flower, and if you do cut that, the whole thing kind of falls apart. You can go down close to it, and this one maybe I'll try a different shape at the top. Again, ice cream cone is where I always go with my mind. So the point, the cone part, you don't cut, and you're rounding the top of the ice cream. And this one I'm going to do a little more pointy at the top because the petal shapes can be different. And just even that out a little. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. And let's see how that looks. To be a little more delicate with that because it's thinner, obviously. So the idea is to just use maybe any tissue paper. Oh, there you go. You might have at home. Decorative papers, wrapping paper, and then you want to combine them if you like. Otherwise you can just leave them as is, but I like to combine them and layer them a little bit so you get a little bit of depth in there. Up to you, totally your piece. So I've done a bunch, and now I'm going to sort of, again, shapes and sizes. So I wanted to layer them, so obviously I want some of them a little smaller. And you just kind of randomly decide where these go. Completely up to you. Put a couple, put a lot. It's your piece, your mom. I guess I wanted it to sort of feel kind of abundant, that there's lots going on to show that there's lots of love there for mom. So you can see there that it's kind of sticking off. I just dabbed the glue in the center so that the petals kind of float off the page a little. They're not stuck flat down. Again, that was a choice I made. You could do it differently, but I kind of like the idea. And then, you know, to get those petals to come up a little, you could very carefully, if you want, just snip down those petals a little towards the center. You don't want to go too far or you've lost the shape and it starts to fall apart, but just a little snip to separate out those petals a little more if you like. And I'll show you a trick to kind of giving those petals a little shape with a little folding. But again, you know, just play with it, have fun. It's yours, you do what you like. So using the pencil, putting it onto the center, and then just wrapping each petal around that pencil, it kind of curves the petals in a little to make it look a little more like it's a formed flower. Just a little fun thing to try. As I said, these flowers can get kind of small, so it can get kind of awkward and tight. Need some good fine motor skills. And then just wrap it around, pinch it a little bit if you want to get a little more shape with those petals. Just going around. And just find any fun papers you have at home. Because these are so small, you will find that you might just have a little wrapper from something that's got some pretty paper and a design that you could use. And then again, I am just putting 1 dab of white school glue in the center. You could use a glue stick, you just might have to put a little more down to make sure that it sticks really well. And just putting a good dab in the middle, and just maybe a little bit more. Make sure I've got enough to get it there, and just tap it down in the middle. And there you go. All right, so just continue on like that. I like to make all my flowers first, and then that part's done, and then I go ahead with the gluing, but it's up to you. You can make a flower, stick it on, make a flower, however you'd like to do it. But just have fun with it, and have fun trying to find different little pieces of paper you might have around the house that go well. Try different combinations. Maybe you want to do all tissue paper, maybe you want to do all printed paper. Entirely up to you. This is your project for Mom. Main thing is to have fun, because that'll show through when you give it to Mom. So I'm going to try one here that's got a few layers of tissue paper so that you kind of get that semi-transparent look, and it looks a little lighter. You can kind of see the glue through that. It kind of goes darker in the center, which is kind of neat. That might dry a little clear. Even if you have any other little embellishments from the dollar store, I typically have a few around, you can play around with stuff like that. Little sequins and that could also add a fun touch to it. Really anything you'd like to add to this piece. Okay, I hope everyone's enjoyed this project, inspired by Mom. Thanks to the family of Catherine and Courtney, who generously support this Latcham Saturdays programming.